Imagine knowing exactly who killed your loved one, watching the perpetrator get convicted, and still never being able to put them to rest. That's the reality for the family of 21-year-old Lauren Kidd. In October 2018, just before Halloween, Lauren disappeared in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Days later, investigators uncovered the truth. She had been murdered. While her killer is now serving a life sentence, Lauren's body has never been recovered, leaving her family without the closure they need. Hello. Welcome back to Their Voice Matters. I'm Amanda, and here I share the stories of victims whose voices deserve to be heard. If you'd like to help keep these stories alive, please click the like button and subscribe or follow the podcast. It really helps more people discover Lauren's story and others like hers. This case was suggested by one of you in the comments, so if there's a case you'd like me to cover, please let me know below. I keep track of all of your suggestions. Lauren Kidd was born on December 5th, 1996, to her parents Krista and Joe Kidd. She grew up in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, a suburb of Tulsa. Lauren was part of a close-knit family with one older half-brother and two younger brothers. She was a great big sister, and her early years were described as happy, surrounded by family and stability. But things began to shift in 2009, when Lauren was just 12 years old. That year, she was diagnosed with ADHD and prescribed medication. Her family later said the medication seemed to change her personality, that she became quieter and more reserved. Krista would later reflect that it, quote, took the essence of Laura away. Before we go further, I want to give a trigger warning for a brief mention of self-harm and essay, so please skip ahead if you need to. In 2010, when Lauren was around 13, her family learned that she had been hurting herself. They weren't sure what had led her to this point. Krista recalled, quote, "We struggled with not knowing. Why would you hurt yourself when you're so beautiful? What can we do to help fix it?" Around that same time, Krista shared that she had learned that a boy had forced himself on Lauren. She didn't go into detail about what happened, but said Lauren began counseling afterward, and for a while things seemed to improve for her. While in high school, Lauren met Zach Main through friends, and the two quickly became inseparable. Her family liked Zach as well, and they were happy for her. Then, in 2014, during her senior year of high school, Lauren made a big decision. She moved out of her childhood home and in with Zach. Together, they said they would finish high school, get married, and start building their lives. Krista, Lauren's mom, began to suspect that Lauren might be pregnant, and her suspicions were right. In March 2015, Lauren gave birth to a baby girl, Addison. Lauren adored her daughter, and despite the challenges of new motherhood, she didn't let it derail her goals. She finished high school just a few months later. Things seemed to be going well for the young couple, and in July 2016, Lauren and Zach got married. In 2017, Lauren, Zach, and Addison moved into an apartment they shared with another young couple, Connor and Alex. During this time, Lauren was working and building new friendships, including one close friend named Blake. But as life's pressures mounted, marriage, raising a toddler, and managing responsibilities at such a young age, cracks began to form in Lauren and Zach's relationship. Connor and Alex broke up, and Alex moved out, leaving Connor as the only other person in the apartment besides Lauren and Zach. With tensions rising in her marriage, Lauren began turning to Connor for support. Their friendship deepened, and eventually, Lauren told Zach that she was in love with Connor. Zach left with Addison, moved in with his mother, and soon filed for divorce. According to Krista, Lauren felt obligated to stay in the apartment with Connor, partly because if she moved out, he would have been the only one left and would have been stuck with the full rent. In September 2017, Lauren and Zach's divorce was finalized, and they would share custody of Addison. As Lauren grew closer to Connor, their relationship became increasingly unhealthy. A friend who met Lauren in early 2018 said the couple often spent time with what she described as, quote, sketchy people. They regularly smoked marijuana, and before long, they began experimenting with stronger substances. When under the influence, the two would often fight. Lauren's family quickly grew concerned. They didn't trust Connor, and they urged her many times to stay away from him. Krista said, quote, "We tried to get her to quit hanging out with him and just let him go. She had other people who really cared about her who were telling her the same thing." Krista was clear about her fears, saying, quote, "He was dangerous. They had domestic calls with the police department several times. Even Zach, Lauren's ex-husband, tried to warn her. He said, quote, "I kept telling her he is not a good guy. You can do so much better. The relationship between Lauren and Connor was turbulent. On again, off again. Her family hoped their final breakup had truly ended things. Krista recalled, quote, "The fights that they would have and the things that he would say to her, it was absolutely horrible for her. They had fought and broke up, got back together, fought, broke up so many times that I really thought this was going to be the case that would be the final breakup." But on Friday, October 26, 2018, Krista's fears resurfaced. She was expecting a call from Lauren asking for a ride home from work, something Lauren often did. Instead, Connor dropped her off at the house. Krista said it was, quote, "horrifying to see him back at our house after everything that had happened." She wanted to confront Lauren about it, but Lauren was defensive, so Krista let it go. Later she would say, quote, "and I never saw her again." On Saturday, October 27th, Lauren was supposed to stay at her friend Blake's house. He dropped her off at a gas station near his house, and she was picked up by a man named Mike West. Lauren had plans to go to Mike's house and get a tattoo there. Blake said he was supposed to pick her up around 6 p.m. He texted her for updates, but after a while, she stopped responding. Concerned, Blake reached out to another friend, Shayna. She also tried to contact Lauren, but got no reply. Shayna later said that Lauren was someone who always responded, so this silence was really concerning. By midnight, with no word from Lauren, panic set in. Blake said he and Shayna were freaking out. They eventually called Lauren's mother, Krista, to see if she knew where Lauren might be, but she didn't know either. Krista messaged Connor, asking if he had heard from her, and also reached out to Zach. Zach told her that he and Lauren were supposed to meet up with Addison for a trick-or-treat event, but Lauren never showed. Krista later said that when Zach told her this, she had, quote, "a horrible gut feeling." That's when they contacted Broken Arrow Police to file a missing persons report. Lauren was officially reported missing on October 30th, 2018, according to Broken Arrow Police. Some sources list October 28th, but the department's own statement gives the 30th. What everyone agreed on was that she missed her Halloween plans with Zach and Addison, something totally out of character. Her mother said, quote, "We knew that if Connor was the last person that she was with, that it was probably not going to end up good." Broken Arrow PD began searching for Lauren right away. Mike West told investigators that when Lauren came to his house, they talked about what tattoo she wanted. Not long after, Connor showed up unexpectedly. Mike said that Lauren told him that she was going to leave with Connor but would be back soon. She never returned. Detectives reached out to Connor. He told him that he had picked up Lauren sometime between 1 and 3 p.m., drove her to Walmart, and dropped her off there so she could walk to a friend's house. Investigators pulled the Walmart surveillance footage, which covered the entire parking lot. It was grainy, but visibility was good since it was daytime. After combing through the footage, they found no sign of Lauren. This was the first clear indication that Connor's story didn't add up. A few days later, Krista received an anonymous message. The sender claimed that they had been with Connor the night before, and there was blood in his car. They said he replaced the seats, and something wasn't right. The tipster described a significant amount of blood on the seat, on a seat cover, and across the floorboard. Based on this information, Broken Arrow PD obtained a search warrant for Connor's phone, his DNA, and his vehicle. They also asked him to come to the station and give a statement, and he agreed. On Friday, November 2nd, Connor was brought into the Broken Arrow Police Department for questioning. At first, he repeated the story that he had told before, that he had dropped off Lauren at Walmart and claimed that she was trying to buy needles. In his police interview, he said, quote, "I picked Lauren up and we were out for maybe 30 minutes or an hour. And after she had tried to buy needles from Target, I was like, I'm not going to support your substance habits. I don't want you to do that. And then I took her to Walmart because apparently you can buy a box of needles there. And that's how I dropped her off." But investigators pulled Connor's cell phone geolocation data from October 27th, and it didn't match his account. Connor said that after dropping Lauren off, he drove around for a while and then worked a shift at Family Video from 4 to 9 p.m. But the geolocation data showed him at 51st and Aspen around 6 p.m., a location he hadn't mentioned. The data also placed him at Walmart at around 10:30 p.m. Surveillance footage confirmed it. The video showed Connor walking in with his ex-girlfriend Alex, the same Alex who had once lived with him, Lauren, Zach, and Addison. Together, the two shopped for clothes and cleaning supplies. There was something especially chilling about this footage. Connor rode the cart out of the store like a giddy child, standing on the lower bar and holding on to the cart, while Lauren's friends were frantically searching for her, and while her blood was already inside his car. Alex later told police that Connor explained that he'd dropped off a friend who'd been shot, and she said that he'd seemed upset about not knowing the friend's condition. She believed him at the time, so she helped him. She admitted she threw out his clothes and saw him cleaning out the blood in his car. Investigators believed Alex had no idea that Lauren was missing or had any reason to doubt his story at the time. When detectives searched Connor's vehicle, they found a large amount of blood. Samples were compared against DNA from Lauren's parents and confirmed to be hers. At that point, Connor's story changed again. Now, he claimed that Lauren had been with some men she was buying illegal substances from in his car. According to this version, there was an argument, and one of the men pulled out a weapon. He said, quote, "He, I guess, had a weapon on him. He shot her. He tried to shoot me." When pressed for details, Connor said that Lauren had been shot in the head. He told investigators the supposed dealers ordered him to dispose of Lauren's body. Police asked where they would find Lauren, and Connor replied, quote, "Behind Come and Go on 51st and Aspen." When asked where exactly, he said, quote, "The trash can." Detectives clarified, "Like the dumpster?" And he answered, quote, "Yeah, that's where they put her." The location he pointed to was a recycling dumpster marked cardboard only. When investigators searched the bin, they found blood inside and outside, as well as a bracelet, all linked back to Lauren, but there was no body. Detectives continued pressing Connor, challenging his story. At first, he insisted the dealers were responsible, but detectives weren't buying it, saying, quote, "Why are you going to sit here and lie to me again?" To which Connor responded, quote, "I'm not lying to you." But then one detective pushed back, saying, quote, "I think something happened between you and her in that car, and it exploded. Am I right?" Connor finally admitted, quote, "Yeah, I had a weapon, and I just held it up, and I said, 'Just get out of my car.' And she kept yelling no, and the clip falls out, and the weapon goes off, and there's ringing afterwards." When asked where she was hit, he replied, quote, "In the face." Detectives then asked, quote, "So then what happens? So she gets hit in the face. Was she dead?" Connor responded, "Yes." Detectives later recovered the weapon and other evidence from Connor's home. He was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and desecration of a human corpse. Because Lauren's body wasn't in the dumpster, investigators concluded she had already been transported to a recycling facility. A massive 2-day search followed at the McCurtain County paper mill in Valiant, Oklahoma, where the dumpster's contents had been sent. Dozens of officers combed through acres of recycled cardboard with the help of cadaver dogs. The dogs did alert inside the mill, and searchers recovered small biological fragments, tissue and bone, that DNA testing confirmed belonged to Lauren. The mill even recalled more than 60,000 pounds of bundled cardboard to aid in the search. But despite the enormous effort, they were unable to recover her remains. Her mother later said, quote, "It is a horrible visual thought in your mind that your daughter would be in that place." Krista explained further, quote, "The last place we do know is that she was in Valiant at the paper mill. She didn't go on her own. She was not alive when she got there, and we don't know where her body is." Because of the industrial recycling process, Lauren's remains could never be recovered. Investigators eventually uncovered what they believed to be Connor's motive. On his phone, they found text messages that painted a troubling picture. At the time, Connor had started seeing someone new, but he was still in contact with Lauren. This new woman didn't like that, and she ended the relationship. In a message to his ex, Connor vented about Lauren. He called her, quote, "a parasite," and said that she ruined his life because she wouldn't go away. To investigators, it was clear Connor wanted Lauren out of his life, permanently. Piecing together the timeline, detectives believe that on October 27th, Connor picked Lauren up from Mike's house, where she had been planning to get a tattoo, sometime around 4:30 or 5 p.m. Not long afterward, while the two were driving, they believe an argument broke out and Connor shot her. They concluded that Connor then placed Lauren's body in the recycling dumpster, disposed of her belongings at a nearby apartment complex, and went to work at around 7:30 p.m. Later that night, he met up with Alex, and together they were seen on Walmart surveillance around 10:30 p.m. On December 5th, 2019, what would have been Lauren's 23rd birthday, Her family held a memorial service for her. Her father, Joe, said, quote, "I waited because I wanted to, but the fact is we all need some type of closure, and her daughter needs it more than anyone to move on." In January 2020, Connor's trial began. He pled not guilty to first-degree murder. Several of his friends took the stand against him. One ex-girlfriend admitted that she saw blood in his car, but at the time, Connor had told her that he had shot a man named Kyle. Another friend testified that he too had seen blood, but was told it was from a dealer that Connor claimed to have shot. The defense argued that Lauren's death was an accident, that after an argument, she refused to get out of his car, and when Connor pointed a weapon at her, it went off unintentionally. But the jury wasn't convinced. After only a few hours of deliberation, Connor Brunner was convicted. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 38 years. In the year 2058, Krista still struggles with the finality of that last day. She said, quote, "I didn't get to tell her goodbye. I didn't get to tell her I loved her. I didn't get to give her a hug. I just didn't know that was going to be the last time I would see her." She added, quote, "It was a terrible thing that he took my baby girl. She didn't deserve that. She had so much of a future ahead of her, and I'm sorry that was taken away." Zach, Lauren's ex-husband and Addison's father, shared, quote, "Addie misses her so much. She loved her mama, and I can't believe he took her away from her." Krista has also spoken about what she wants Addison to remember. Quote, "I would like Addison to know that her mommy really was trying to be the mom that she wanted her to be. This bad dude took her away, and that wasn't her fault, and that her mommy is watching over her." Her father, Joe, remembers his daughter as Lala. He said, quote, "When I think about my baby girl, my little Lauren, I call her Lala. I got so many memories. That's the only thing that keeps me going, her memories. She was an awesome individual." A few months after Lauren's death, Krista even turned her daughter's room into a memorial space for Addison, filled with Lauren's childhood toys and dress-up clothes, a place where Addison could connect with her mother's memory. Lauren Kidd's story is heartbreaking not only because of the violence that took her life, but because of the lasting absence she leaves behind. Her family, and especially her young daughter, live with that loss every day. Even though her killer was convicted, the family is left without the closure of ever laying her to rest. Stories like Lauren's remind us why it's so important to keep victims' voices alive, and why we can't forget the people behind the headlines. If you found Lauren's story important to hear, please like, subscribe, or follow the podcast, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. It not only helps more people discover these stories, but also helps ensure that Lauren's memory stays alive. If you'd like to check out another story that highlights how complicated and painful these cases can be, I recommend my coverage of Nanette Krentel's case. You can click here to watch it next. I'll see you there.